Welcome to the Business Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Edwin Frondozo. I am happy to share this episode, which is a special collaboration with Up Next Global and the Brampton Ventures Zone, celebrating BVZ's 5 years of bold founders. I was honored to sit down as the interviewer and learn directly from this community of builders, innovators, and leaders. So let's get to it. Joining me is Latchmi Raghunanan, founder of Maman Biomedical. She's turning groundbreaking biomedical research into innovations that can truly impact patient care. Her story is about bridging science with entrepreneurship. Latchmi, welcome to the show. I guess to get started, how did Maman Biomedical come to be?
Thank you, Edwin. My story, I say, is the perfect storm, founder's trifecta. Our journey really started with my own IVF journey, lived experience. For those who don't know IVF, it's a fertility treatment standard of care. I once approaching 40, left my job, went for IVF treatment, had that sort of pivotal life moment. And during that process, I realized just how invasive and burdensome that process was. Too many injections, all self-administered, and the burden of success is on you. A mistake with any single one of those injections, regardless of if it's you store it at the wrong temperature or you injected the wrong amount, they're at the wrong place at the wrong time, anything can mess that cycle up. And that would mean that you've lost time because you're racing and then the clock as a patient. You've wasted all that money and you've gone through all of this trauma of daily injections, all for nothing. And I'm a material scientist. And so you can imagine while I'm doing this, I'm thinking, man, this sucks. I wish there was a better way. But Latchmi, you've spent your entire career developing similar technologies. You know there's a better way. And after a year of IVF treatments, I got the courage up enough to say, because I'm a natural problem solver, I said I wanted to solve this problem. And then 2 weeks later, I founded Maman and we incorporated. And so I want to solve this problem, I realized this is my life's goal. I'm going to do this.
Oh, amazing. Well, I know, I have personal experience with me and my wife in terms of this, and I know how invasive it is. So Latchmi, what leadership challenges have you faced in, I guess, building a biomedical startup?
I love this question because I reflected a lot on this. When I founded and I hired my first staff member, I thought, oh man, it's going to get so much easier. Now I can delegate. And that's natural. As a natural leader, I do delegate and I love autonomy, empowering people to take ownership and do. So I thought, man, I'd have so much more free time but to get on to CEO stuff.
Yes.
But I realized that wasn't the case. Even when the burden of the daily activities get taken off your plate, you have staff now. That's a new kind of work.
Right.
And then our staff take different forms. You've got experienced people, you manage them differently, you lead them differently. When you've got interns, you lead them again differently. And up until Maman, I didn't have experience with these different kinds because I come from an academic into early startup experience where I've always mentored and led PhDs. And that's, autonomy. They know what they're doing. You give them direction and say, go do, you empower them.
Yes.
But I realized interns were an entirely different thing. So I had to learn individuals are motivated differently. You need to learn that and understand that. And then some interns I needed to micromanage more than others, but then others blew my expectations way off the chart and I needed to treat them as I would have an experience. So it's really learning that fine line and balance.
Yeah. So how did you balance that? I guess coming from that very research-based type of background, understanding leadership and understanding that PhDs, they all have their nuances and expertise. And sometimes you can't even tell them what to do. They know their stuff, leave me alone. And to your point, in terms of really this business reality, is how did you balance that? And how, what resources did you look for? Or how did you get better at it?
I was lucky in that I looked towards types of leaders that I've had in the past. My PhD, even though academic, PhD academic, it was always very business-minded. I myself was a mature PhD student. I've had an entire career before my PhD. So I've experienced the world differently. And
Mm,
that I felt I was always able to bring that even in my very first work experience. I wasn't just, I understood with every activity that we were doing, every experiment that we wanted to run, I was always asking, how does this bring value? What are we trying to solve and why? Is this a need to have or a must to have? And when I mentor and I teach, it's also the same thing. I'm
mhm.
trying to get, and that's what I feel balances in business. This is just doing experiments, and as academics, you do because the love of knowledge. You want to solve things, even though they may not be business relevant. So it's always asking, how does this advance the bigger picture? Remind everyone this is the vision. Are we moving the needle to get to here, or are we digging a rabbit hole?
Right, right. That's great. Latchmi, how did BVZ provide, I guess, a platform to bring your science into the real world?
BVZ has provided us opportunities for visibility like these.
Mhm.
I'd say it's one of the biggest highlights of their. We're an early stage startup, only 18 months in. And when I started, nobody knew us, obviously.
Mhm.
We weren't a university spun out. I started building on our kitchen countertops. And to get opportunities, I quickly realized I needed to build that credibility, gain trust.
Yeah.
And the only way I could do that was through visibility.
Mhm.
And BVC has put us front and center. We worked hard, we earned it, but we've been given the opportunities and we leverage them.
Amazing. And how did that, I guess, with this opportunity with BVZ, really translate your science into something what investors and partners could really, I guess, want and understand?
Speaking and communicating it. And so it wasn't just about saying we're building something. We knew that we needed to show. We've got, the prototypes and I showcase it and I'm able to show, to go back to the community that we built up during the time at BVC and say, we've got these features. What do you guys think?
Hmm.
Understanding what investors want to see, what's the credibility when, we hear a lot of you're too early. What does that mean? And really going back to the community, the BVZ community, and saying, well, we're getting this feedback and XYZ feedback. Help us translate that and unpack it and figure out what we need to fix, address, be checking those milestones off.
So I guess now, where you are today and taking a moment to look back at the journey since launching this, what is the single most valuable lesson that you gained from being part of the community, being part of BVZ?
It's lean into your community. Our community has been fantastic, nothing short of fantastic. They've stepped up. The founders that we met in this program in our cohort have been amazing. I'm still very close friends with a lot of them. And we even long after the BVZ program cohort ended, we still check in on a monthly basis with each other. Here's what we're doing. Here are the struggles we're having. How can I help you? That, entrepreneurship is hard. The wins are a few in between, and the highs are highs and the lows are really low.
Yeah.
So having this support behind you really, really matters.
I mean, it almost sounds like your cohort becomes your family.
Yes.
And the community is really the structure that you're able to connect through. Thinking about this community, how do you feel or how do you see, the community really shape now, the direction and the growth trajectory now of your company?
We don't look like an 18-month-old company. I think we look way much more mature than we are, and it has to do with all this accelerated growing. We are solving, the science might be young, but we're de-risking around the business components, everything that we've capitalized on from the mentors and the peer sessions and the programming content and the visibility and listening when people speak. What are they really saying? So we've been listening and iterating and restructuring and reshaping. So I think, if this were pre-COVID, we'd be, I think, on par with Series A.
Series A, you'd be
companies.
heading there. So it sounds like you're heading there anyways.
We are.
So we're
But
excited. That's amazing. Congrats. So I guess last question I have for you, Latchmi, It sounds like it was very monumental in terms of being part of this community, part of BVZ. But, you know, share in one sentence, how would you describe BVZ's role in your entrepreneurial journey?
I'd say BVZ has been a huge champion ally. And they've created space and opportunities for us to enter rooms, into rooms, which we wouldn't have even imagined before. So huge game changer and door opener.
Amazing. Latchmi, we're excited for your success. We look forward to the future you're building. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
That's a wrap, folks. This episode is part of the BVZ 5 Years Bold. It was produced in collaboration with Up Next Global. I'm grateful for the opportunity to learn from the founders and the BVZ community that continues to shape the Brampton innovation ecosystem. Until next time, have yourself a 100x life.